Hey everybody, how you guys doing?
Good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started with George. We'll start with Mark Weiser.
Hey, George, how's it going?
It's going good.
Good. I want to ask you kind of what is it like practicing and playing in this offense under Todd Monken? What changes for you as a receiver?
The biggest thing that's changed for me as a receiver under Coach Munkin was just the split adjust. Me being outside edge or me being inside edge, and I feel like that helped me a lot, knowing that he's an NFL guy.
How exciting is it, knowing his background as a wide receiver, that he's had success in the passing game at some of his stops?
That's actually amazing. Like when I heard that him and Coach Hankin is just like two guys that can really just help me and improve.
Thank you.
Mike Griffith, go ahead.
Hey, George, I got a couple questions for you. As far as expectations, when you came in, I mean, how hard was that for you to manage that? And I guess we see Jermaine Burton kind of going through that right now. And then I guess the other question I would just ask you is just watching what Dwan Mathis has gone through this last year. I mean, you've been there as he's come back from brain surgery. So if you could tackle those two questions for me.
Yeah, me coming in from Alabama as a freshman and the expectations that people had for me, I was just really just working hard every day. I mean, I knew that was the standard at the school I chose, and I feel like Jermaine Burton, he knows the standard is the same thing. So such is Dewan. So all three of us, we're just going to work hard, and I feel like that's what we're doing.
Anthony Dasher. Dash, go ahead.
Hey, George, good to see you. When you're on the field and you make a big play, what is the challenge for you as far as balancing, being excited about what you just accomplished and not taking it too far as far as getting the flag goes?
It's really just staying wholesome. I mean, I make so many like big plays to me that I see like on the internet or stuff like that, and I see them get riled up. But knowing me, I just got to stay calm and just play as a team. I mean, this year I'm just focused on mostly the team thing because I see now the team can win you a national championship, the team can win you an SEC championship. So if you're team bounded, then you're going to win.
And for you, just real quick, and for you personally, how important was it for you at the end of the season to have the game you did in the Sugar Bowl after what happened at the end of that Georgia Tech game?
It was really big. I just me coming out of that game, I just wanted to show everybody that I don't have to do other things just to be great or just to make plays.
Thanks, man.
Seth Emerson, do you have a question?
Yeah, George, kind of on that, with what has your personal growth been like this offseason? You feel like, and since last year, obviously guys talked kind of good naturedly after the Sugar Bowl about you kind of keeping your emotions in check and everything. How do you feel like you've grown and matured?
Specifically from that game, the Sugar Bowl game, that's when from there on until now, I've just been focusing on the team. That's kind of how I got good at the Sugar Bowl and the Sugar Bowl game, how I had the numbers that I had because I was just focused on the team. So now that's what I'm kind of working on.
Did you feel like you weren't quite doing that before that?
I felt like I was, but it wasn't important enough to me as it was to other people. So now it's way much more important.
Jake Rowe, do you have a question for George Pickens? Jake, we cannot hear your audio. We'll come back to you. Connor Riley, do you have a question?
Yeah, sort of following up on what Seth just asked, George, there's been a lot of talk about you growing this offseason. How specifically have you gotten better on the football field in terms of what you've been able to do?
I most definitely put on a little more weight than I had last year. I mean, last year, of course, I was a freshman coming out of high school. But now that the weight program is picked up and it's really getting me bigger as a player, so I'm much faster and I'm much bigger this year.
Jason Butt, do you have a question?
Yeah, George, I wanted to go back to Jermaine Burton. What has impressed you about him so far throughout this preseason?
He reminds me of myself. Like when I first came in, he just likes to work. I mean, sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing, or sometimes he might mess up, like just like I did. But as long as he's doing it full speed, that's all that really matters, because that shows you that he's training every day to work hard.
We'll go back to Jake Rowell.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. George, I wanted to ask you about go back to Coach Munkin, and his expertise is in the area of your position. I mean, he's coached receivers more than any other position in his career. Kind of what has he kind of brought, not necessarily from a scheme standpoint, but the finer points of playing the receiver position and just the work off the field and stuff like that. What has he brought to you and kind of helped you with in that way?
Just more like tricks and tools during route running. I mean, a lot last year, I was just running the route that they told me to run, and I was trying to do it the best of my ability. But now I know little things that he's seen from the teams that he's been with, like the Browns, so Odell, Jarvis Landry, tools that he took from those guys that he's just showing me. So it helps me every day.
Austin Roper, do you have a question?
Yeah, sure. Hey George, how you doing? I'm just wondering kind of, I guess like how, you haven't, with the quarterback competition that's going on now, like last season during the off season, the whole season, you basically were working with Jake Fromm. I'm just wondering kind of where you're at, getting reps in with all these different quarterbacks that are going through the rotation. Like, how are you seeing practice and the scrimmage and stuff like that? I mean, how's that been for you?
Oh, it's been great. I kind of like when the quarterbacks were competing, because I love competing. So when I seen them working every day and I'm throwing with different quarterbacks every day, it just shows me that each guy's working to get better every day. So each ball might be different, but as long as you know that they're working and that you're working, you're going to catch the ball. So it's perfectly fine.
Brandon Sudge, do you have a question?
Hey, George, I mean, so I know like over this past year and everything since you've gotten here, it's been kind of been up and down with expectations, people talking, your performances. Like, can you kind of describe to me what your highest and lowest point was through all of that? And then also, you speak about being more of a team guy. Did you have a conversation with anybody that kind of allowed you to realize that?
Oh, no. When I say like team guy, it's just like I'm a little bit older now, and I know that I'm a big part in the offense. So last year when we had Jake, I was a newcomer. So you know how you're a newcomer, you can have certain input, but you can't have that much big of an input. So now this season that I know that, I just want to take everybody under my wing and try to coach everybody up the best as I can.
And then in terms of like, did you have kind of did you kind of have like any high moments or low moments throughout this whole process, whether it be a big game or the incident at Tech or anything like that?
Oh, no. I mean, it happens. Stuff happens all the time on the field that is just not excluded or being brought to a light as much. But no, I never had any high lows, because the team that I chose, they always got my back. So.
Griffin, do you have any questions for George?
Yeah, George, I just kind of wanted to see your confidence in the receiving group as a whole. After Dominic went down, there's like, a little bit of turnover with, who's going to take his place and whatever. How confident are you with the other guys as well as yourself?
I'm confident a lot. I mean, like you guys talked about Jermaine, mentioning Marcus Rosemy, and Justin Robinson. So we got a lot of guys. Not saying that we can replace them, but they're all good workers. So the plan is going to work just the same if Dom was here or if it wasn't.
We'll go to Greg Poole. Greg, do you have any questions? Okay, we'll go to Palmer.
Yeah, George, wanted to ask about what do you think you've seen from some of the freshmen? You mentioned them there, but you talked about Jermaine earlier, but you mentioned those other guys. What have you seen from them?
I can see them kind of like taking my tools that I'm telling them every day. I mean, every rep that I go, I always come back to the huddle and just tell them like little stuff that can help them get better. And I can actually see them using it because it works. So when they use it, I can see them using it. And that just shows me that they listen, and that just shows me that they can play. As long as you listen, you can play.
We'll go to Patrick. Patrick, do you have anything for George?
Sean, I'm good. Thanks, sir.
And I see Greg pop back on. Greg, did you have anything? I guess not. We got time for one more question if anybody would like to take it.
George, I'm going to ask you where you feel like you needed to improve the most, and how would you grade your first season at Georgia?
Well, what I needed to improve the most was probably my depth on routes. I mean, I feel like last year I wasn't doing that. I'll do it every now and then, but this year I feel like I'm more consistent on getting the right depth on routes. And then the biggest thing last year, I just feel like, I mean, I'm not going to say A+, but I'll say like B+, because I didn't know as much about the college life or about the college gameplay, how fast it was. So me changing and adjusting would make it a B+.